Hello, my name is Sean Sands, and this is Sunless Skies, a game. I don't know if we'll do a single episode here, just to kind of do a walkthrough of it. Might do a little bit of a series. We'll see how it goes. But I did want to share with you because it's very, very cool, very, very different, something very interesting. We're just going to dive into a new game. This is sort of a there is a like a narrative adventure component to this. There's a lot of text we'll be reading, so fair warning in advance. If that's just not your kind of thing, there we are. Now you know. But there's also a roguelike element to it, in that we'll be progressing through a campaign that has a consistent story. We'll be exploring, a sort of a vast open world's wrong. It's a very top-down view, but there's just a ton to explore, and it's set this in this sort of weirdly post-apocalyptic, steampunky Victorian era sort of setting of a world centered around London, except it exists in the sky, in a sunless sky. It is the sequel to Sunless Seas, so certainly check that one out if you're interested in sort of getting the backstory. This picks up right where Sunless Seas apparently left off. We can begin a new campaign where if you die you can reload or continue with a new captain. We'll do a legacy campaign. Dying's part of the deal. I'm going to do it a lot. I'm still getting used to the controls. The controls are a little wonky, but yeah, we'll dive in. Aiming assistance. No. Enemy projectile speed, we'll keep that at standard. And supply consumption is brutal at the beginning, but we will also keep both of those at the normal setting. So what you do is you start off by building your captain, kind of defining his history, and these choices you make will both sort of set the stage for how the world interacts with him, as well as what he can pass down then once he dies to the next captain in his lineage. You'll get a sense. I'm certain I'll die. Log of Her Majesty's locomotive, the Orphean, March 14th, 1905. Our expedition to the domains of the dead has been eventful. The Orphean is damaged and in grievous need of repairs and supplies. We're returning in haste to the Reach, where I hope to make port at New Winchester. May God be with us for 1,000 deaths wait in the sky. Final entry of Captain Amelia Charity Whitlock, DCM, written shortly before her death. Fail Better Games is a computer company. Just saying. All right, so this is the top-down kind of big world view. We see something called Blue Kingdom Transit Relay, and we move our train in space. It's free-floating, free-form. You have returned to the Reach, an untamed sunless span of the heavens, London's new frontier, a celestial garden. Run wild. Dodge. I rebound those. I've actually had those switched before, and I find this easier to remember. Your journey back from the Blue Kingdom was tumultuous. Your locomotive has crippled, and Captain Whitlock badly wounded. As first officer, the crew look to you. The nearest station is New Winchester. Can you get the Orpheum there safely? So you scavenge stuff as you move along. The world is full of things you can encounter. Sometimes that'll provide you fuel. Down here, just to get a quick look, we have our fuel, we have our supplies, we have the health of our hull, number of crew, the space in our hull, hold, the amount of terror we have, and how our nightmares are doing. We picked up some fuel there. We find the wreck of the Ozymandias. A wreck drifts here, less fortunate even than you. We should scavenge her for repairs, a crewman suggests, and so we shall. The wreck of the Ozymandias. The wreck hangs in the sky, pocked with recent gunfire. You and the boarding party don your sky suits, garments of waxed canvas lined with felt to protect against the cold of the sky. Two of the crew are whispering as they dress. What business did the Captain Whitlock have in the Blue Kingdom anyway? Why the devil did we trespass on the districts of the dead? You silence him. Now's not the time. We will leap across to the wreck. You jump. Your stomach lurches with vertigo as the stars blaze above you and below. The air of the heavens is thin and torn by unpredictable winds. Then your boots hit the running board of the Ozymandias, and your leather-gloved hands fumble for a hold. One of your companions throws you a line, and you lash the two engines together. Only then do the rest of the boarding party follow you. One of them forces open an exterior hatch, and you clamber inside. Her interior is cold, unlit, and whistles with the wind. Your party's lamps spread buttery light over the narrow, paneled passages. You make your way toward the hold, stepping over bodies crumpled in the corridor. Unfortunately, your way is blocked. A bulkhead has been mangled inward by a well-aimed barrage. And this, okay, so you have skills, and we'll go into this in a second when we look at the profile. But these are fists, I think? I forget what this one's called. Veils. And this is iron. So these are things you can boost or lower, and they go into these roles that occasionally come up in different quests or different instances, different situations. We can either clear the obstruction away, which we have a 75% chance of success, or lead the party on a more precarious path, which uses what's called veils, the skill of deceiving and evading. We'll test our iron skill here, clearing the obstruction, and we fail because we roll really well. So 75%, but welcome to XCOM. Sunless Skies. As you strain against the stubborn steel, you remember an event from a year ago. A boiler explosion had trapped an engineer beneath a tangle of plating and pipework. The captain was first on the scene. You were second. Together, you pried the wreckage upward enough for you to crawl beneath it while the captain braced the bar against her back. "By all means, take your time," she grunted as you dragged the engineer out. Back in the present, the twisted bulkhead yields suddenly. A crewman cries out as its jagged edge bites him. You order him taken back to the Orphean while the rest of you press on. The way is clear. We lost a crew member, so our new total is 7 down here. You reach the Ozymandias' hold, a ruin of smashed cargo and spilled supplies. Hopefully somewhere amidst the detritus you can find parts to repair the Orphean and restock your stores. We'll conduct a thorough search. You find enough food and gear to restock your supplies and enough spare parts to make necessary repairs to the Orphean. The food will need to be thoroughly thawed, of course, but you've eaten worse in the skies. "Oh!" cries one of your party, prying the lid off a long crate. It holds a cannon still nestled in the straw. Another crewman pulls a battered bird cage from a pile of ruined cargo. Within the cage, something winged and furred opens a sullen eye. You examine your finds. We've gained 4 supplies, which is good. So supplies is stuff we'll need. With supplies go away, our crew will begin to starve and presumably die. We currently have 5 supplies. Each time this bar drops all the way down, you use up one of your supplies. Same with fuel. You gain 15 hull, so we are back at full hull health. The Ozymandias emits a long, juddering creak. Your boarding party exchange nervous glances. From the chaos of its hold, you have retrieved repairs and supplies and discovered some useful equipment. A gun that could be mounted on your locomotive and an educated bat. We can mount the Jerusalem cannon on the Orphean, and we can liberate a diffident bat and employ it as a scout. This blue text tells you more about the choice. The white just gives you some flavor text. So we can claim both. We'll start with the cannon. The Cotterell and Hathersage Jerusalem fires single shells to a good range, more or less accurately. You order 2 of your party to get it back to your vessel and fit it immediately. The Ozymandias groans again. The structure shudders spasmodically. We have the Jerusalem gun. Now we can liberate a diffident bat, which we will use as a scout, is what that is. The bat treats its rescue as an inconvenience and immediately begins haggling over pay. You offer to put it back in its damn cage and leave it on the Ozymandias, at which point it becomes more polite. You doubt it will last. And so we have a diffident bat. We can either return, so the Ozymandias emits a long juddering creak. Boarding party exchange nervous glances. This thing's breaking beneath our feet. We can press on to the engine room, or we can return to the Orphean. I think we'll press on a little bit here. The wreck of the Ozymandias screeches as its metal buckles and tears. You press on through the shuddering corridors, searching frantically for the engine room. So we also have hearts. Is that their third thing is hearts, 4th thing is mirrors. So I think that's all of them, right? So iron, veils, hearts, and mirrors. Iron strength, veils, I'm assuming sort of wits. Mirrors, I assume, is sort of like perception, and just heart is just audacity? I don't know. So we can either send a smaller party. It's foolish for you all to go. Send your quickest and lightest to retrieve the fuel while the rest of you return to the Orpheus, or send the rest of the boarding party back to the Ozymandias and go on alone. I think we'll try that. I think we'll send our crew back. I don't want to lose any more crew on this trip. We already lost one, and we were successful. In the nick of time, the wreck's engines are choked with old ash. You search swiftly, aware of every creak in the bulkhead, every tremble that runs through the dead locomotive. Finding several sacks of coal, you drag them to an exterior hatch and fling them across to the Orphean before leaping after them. Unshackling your locomotive from the Ozymandias, you stoke the engines and steam away, restocked, refueled, repaired, and rearmed. Gain 2 fuel. That's very good. So it'll tell us in a minute how to conduct searches, and there it is. Press F to send out scouts. So you can hit tab, and that'll give you the map of this sector or segment or whatever. This is not the entire world. So this transit relay will take you to whatever the Blue Kingdom is. I haven't been there yet. Don't know. But there are various transit relays that send you to other areas of the world. You can send out scouts. There goes our bat. He will return forthwith. You prod your bat. It grudgingly admits finding something. And you can click that chart tab again, and it says it's found something over here, which I believe is Winchester. That's the name of the city? Anyway, it's where we're going. Yep, scouts, high device. Summoned by Captain Whitlock. The walls of the captain's cabin are lined with a hodgepodge of curios from across the sky. Captain Whitlock lies in bed. Black marks cover her skin like a monstrous brand. When she coughs, coils of acrid smoke pour from her lungs. I can inquire after the captain's injuries or approach the bedside. We'll ask the doctor. A word, the brand, a word of living fire pursued the Orphean across the Blue Kingdom. It caught you just before you passed through the transit relay to the Reach and set its brand upon the captain. It's burned itself right into her, the doctor whispers. When I closed the worst of her wounds, I could see the sign. It seared into her bones and her organs. Judging from her symptoms, it's on the inside of her lungs, too. The captain leads to one side and vomits a plume of fire into a copper bowl. There is nothing the doctor can do. Approach the bedside. Her mouth is blistered from the blue fire that danced on her tongue. Her hand grips your arm. Her skin is hot as a kettle. Made arrangements. The Orphean will be yours. Her voice is just a rasp of burned meat breath. But promise. She breaks off to scream a word in a language that was not made for human mouths. When she resumes speaking English, she is weaker. Her request little more than a gasp. Promise me one last service. Promise. I'm going to promise the fire lady whatever she wants. She sinks back, relieved. All in my will, she gasps. Be a better. She breaks off as the sigils burned into her bones flare, glowing cherry red through her flesh and skin. Better, Captain, than I. The effort exhausts her. She sinks back into the scorched pillows in a twisting, frantic fever. The walls of the captain's cabins are lined with a hodgepodge of curios from across the sky. So we will take our leave. I have an engine to command. New Winchester is further than you'd like, and the captain hasn't long left. So our primary fire here is left button. You can see this little thing went up here. That's a heat meter. So if we overdo it, we will have... you played video. Oh, and there is a bear. Oh no, I see you. So the combat is kind of slow at times. But it is... yeah, come on, fire. Yeah, you did it. You missed. I got you. Oh, you're stuck. Nice. Doesn't always go that smoothly, I assure you. We loot it. The Reach Marauder is defeated. You approach the buckled wreckage, poised to plunder the plunderers. Behind you, someone is humming a song of victory. We can raid the remains or strip it for repairs, but we don't have to repair anything, so we raid the remains. Marauders pillage homesteads and hunt travelers all across the reach. Your boarding party returns with wallets and watches, cufflinks, lockets, and keepsakes. You store them in the safe to be pawned when, if you make it back to port. Now have 37 sovereigns. We made 37 monies. Monies is good. And we carry on. Heading to this thing our diffident bat found. So you do have a level up process. You gain experience as you find things wispy, condensation trails across the sky, and ghosts of passing trains. The new port, the crew are relieved to see land, perhaps unwisely. When you find a new port that you haven't been to before, it reduces your terror, which is nice. This is near Winchester, so we will dock. You coast into the bustle, the din, the soot, and the steam of Wolfsley Station. It's clogged with other engines, scrappy mining locomotives from Lustrum Way, weathered explorers gleaming with frost, sleek company vessels with bright brass fittings. No sooner have you pulled into the sidings than a brusque station master bustles over. He requests to come aboard. "I must speak with your captain," he insists, brandishing a ledger. "The usual formalities." Look to the Orphean's doctor. He has just appeared at your shoulder. His face is solemn. His hat is in his hands. He lowers his eyes. The passing. The crew exchange bleak, wordless looks. The Orphean itself feels suddenly more empty. The station master looks confused, and you inform him that, unfortunately, Captain Whitlock has just passed. "Ah," he says neutrally. "I'm sorry to hear that. Very sad, very sad." He waits for what he considers an appropriate minute and a half before continuing. "Alas, even in this tragedy, the cogs of bureaucracy must turn. If Captain Whitlock is deceased, the station authority require their answers from the first officer." He dons a set of spectacles and locates his pen. "It will be relatively painless. Name, background, purpose of visit, etc. Shall we begin?" So, character creation of a kind. I can create my captain, and I can create this sort of background story. And you can see here, like, a street urchin starts with high veils, the skill of evading and deceiving. Soldier's going to have more of a high iron count, obviously. I haven't figured out which of these... Also, we don't really see this yet, but later we'll realize that these decisions also will play a role in how your belongings will be passed on later. Let's just be a sailor. You rode the mournful, merciless waters of the Untersee. So we'll start with high iron. You remember bats swinging across. You were a sea captain. You remember bats swinging across the still black sea. The distant lights of London calling you home, salty prayers offered to heedless gods. It was a hard life, and often a short one, but you made your mark. We could either have smuggled or explored, or you bought and you're sold. I want this guy. I'm not ready for villainy yet. I think I want to be academically inclined. So we explored. Far lonely journeys, endured nameless hardships, rallied our crew in the face of utmost uncertainty. Our ambition, what does winning mean to you? So in this case, now normally, like at some point I'm going to get to the truth, but be warned this is a demanding ambition, best played by a lineage that has already completed wealth or fame. So in this case, we'll go with fame. No, we'll go with wealth. Want a comfortable retirement, and by comfortable you mean extravagant. Many have made their fortunes out among the stars. Many more have failed, broken and lost in the drifting night. Will you be different? To win, gather a substantial retirement fund, acquire lodging at a hub port, and retire. We will make our captain here. Let's see, we're kind of a sailor at heart. That's a little too fresh-faced for me. Give him a little more. Oh. I like the sailor hat. A little bit more. Can we get a beard going? Ooh, there's my guy. He prefers to be called officer? Probably officer. There's a lot of these. Captain. Yeah, Captain, of course he. And his name, Captain Eli. There's Captain Eli. We were a Z captain and explored, and we seek wealth. Our starting stats are 25 iron, 17 hearts, 10 eyeballs, I forget. This is Veils. I can't remember what that one is. We'll see in a second. So our affiliations could also unlock bargains and prospects. As there determines who we pick up and how our end will come. We're going to hide advice. The reading of the will. 3 weeks have passed. This morning, Captain Whitlock received a small memorial service. Her body was consigned to a necropolis train bound for the Serene Mausoleum. Now you sit with a handful of her relatives in the threadbare offices of her solicitor. A methodical notary is reading the will. The captain was wealthy once, but squandered her capital on mysterious expenses before her expedition to the Blue Kingdom. Listen to the end. The captain's relatives, from whom she was mostly estranged, are clearly wondering why you are here. True to her word. In a final codicil, the notary announces, Captain Whitlock confirmed that possession of the Orpheon was to pass to its first officer. He peers at you with dry gray eyes. This includes a certain black box contained in the Orpheon's hold. Captain Whitlock's final request was that at a time of your choosing, you transport said box to an address in London. He hands you an address card and deposit it there. You are not to look inside. She gave no explanation. And that's it. You're captain now. The Orpheon is yours. So, we can investigate the black box at New Winchester, and we could either take the box to London as requested, or we can sell it and be done. We've been bequeathed the large black box, which once belonged to Captain Whitlock, and we've gained 100 sovereigns. Wolvesy Station. So, a lot of the game happens here, right? There's really two main phases of the game. One is sort of that outer world exploration, combat phase, and the rest is sort of set up here. Now, some of this I've done, so, I kind of have a sense of the things that I want to do right away. Recruit the Incautious driver. I specialize in test driving, but I'm looking for something quieter. So, the driver indicates a crashed engine, still smoking. Like that, without the screaming. This requires a sign-on fee, so we needed at least 20. We have 137, which means that we can allow the driver to join our crew. What does that do? When we assign him as an officer, we will increase our iron by 6, our hearts by 2, and our affiliation to the establishment, which is not a specific property. It's not like a stat sheet. That's just a relationship stat by 1. So I think we'll do that. Brave or fearless, the driver boards, eager to get started. I recently parted ways with Windward Company, they explain. Personally, I think a crash a week isn't so bad. They disagreed. Oh well, live and learn. Lost a little money, gained a driver. So we can assign drivers over here and officers. We have a variety. I got this covered, advice. Do your thing. We have multiple areas that we can assign stuff in. We don't have any yet, but now we have a chief engineer who will give us +2 hearts, +6 iron, and +1 affiliation establishment. And now we have a chief engineer, who I assume is also a pilot. An opportunity, the fastidious inspector. Excuse me, Captain. A woman pushes through the crowds toward you. She is short and square-shouldered in a neat black suit and polished shoes. She shows you the case of her pocket watch. It is embossed with the crown and hourglass of London's horological office, the body responsible for ensuring time is consistent across the empire. I'm hoping to book passage to Port Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Offer her passage. Pay sounds promising. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down following a boiler rupture. The chief engineer's fault, I suspect. A gentleman fonder of brandy than of diligence. Here, an initial sum to seal our bargain. Prosper lies to the south-southeast of New Winchester. Oh, now this is interesting. So it's a new map every time. Because in my other gameplay, New Winchester is northwest of... Okay, cool. So I won't know where anything is. That's actually great. Not that there is such a thing as north, south, east, or indeed west out here. Instead, London cartographers picked 4 of the brighter, more reliable stars visible from the Empress's new palace and named them north, east, south, and west. Londoners value familiarity. So we gained the fastidious inspector, 50 sovereigns, and they've joined our engine. Next up, we're not going to investigate the black box, right? She told us don't do it. We don't need to repair a locomotive. Could hire on crew. Maybe we will. Your voyages have grown perilous of late. Numbers and morale are lower than they were. Today, New Winchester is abuzz with rumor. A famous tackety captain. So there's a conflict in this region, a sort of war that's brewing between the establishment and the tackety, who are sort of, if you watch Firefly, I think, the Empire or whatever it was, and just the people living on the frontier who want to be able to rule themselves. I'm sure there are plenty of real-world examples too. A famous tackety captain has turned tail and fled back to London, promised a generous pension and a full pardon in exchange for selling secrets. His crew are at a loose end and under a cloud of suspicion. Will they ever find work again? Well, we can pay some sovereigns and hire them on. Initially, the crew members are suspicious. They think you might be a journalist for the Gazette. Still, they're happy to drink on your coin, and as the night progresses, their reserve vanishes. When they arrive at your engine the next day to sign their papers, they come with headaches and nausea and the last of their things. They go to their berth, ready to make for the stars again. We can begin to find out about our wealth ambition. Now, as I said before, there is a lot. Just fair warning, as we go through this, there is a lot of stuff that happens in the city. We can't do this yet, so at some point we want to purchase the governor's manor. It turns out that is expensive, so we're not going to do that. And that's only the first step. But it gives you a sense of what you're aiming for. We will explore the city. The smoggy, clanking, singing, stamping, thronging, frantic heart of the Reach. An ever-expanding port of soot-smudged glass and bright steel spilling across a drifting, mist-wrapped archipelago. Its factories thunder, its engines sheds ring with hammers and hiss with steam, locomotives chug into sidings for repair or flare across the sky and away into the high wilderness. An opportunity, learn about trading. So we will learn a little bit about trading. It works pretty much the way you think it's going to work. We can visit the Promise of Days and meet some captains who know some stuff. We will do that. Smoggy, clanky, blah, blah, blah. So we will visit the Promise of Days. Old pistons gleam on the walls. The shelves are crowded with mementos from across the sky. The clientele raise their voices to be heard above the comforting clamor of the adjacent engine yards. Might find helpful advice here. I will introduce myself to seasoned captains, which I can do because I haven't done that yet. 4 are gathered at their usual table. The masked citizen, a libertine, polymath, and pioneer of the neo-nocturnal artistic school. The bedeviled didact, a scholar haunted by his discoveries. The plucky baroness, explorer, collector, philatelist. And Spatchcocker Meg, who haunts monsters. Of course, everything out here is jolly dangerous, says the Baroness. Few risk the skies, so news of distant ports is valuable. Collect port reports from the places you visit and deliver them to Victory Hall or Company House. The more you turn in at once, the more they'll pay. Look for other opportunities on the way, advised the masked citizen. Passengers who want transport, rich men in need of bloody work, etc. Ask them how to make your fortune through trade. Ah, the didact says, fiddling with his innumerable talismans, an essential topic. Meg slides you a stool, and the captain shuffles around to make room. The masked citizen buy you a drink of their own invention. It is violet and foggy. The plucky baroness gives you a brisk, encouraging grin. Ask away. So I won't read all that. It works like you think. There are markets, right? You can buy and sell trades at different places. Prospects are interesting because prospects tend to be a special thing that a given port has. We'll read. Masked citizens sips their drink. The biggest port in each region has a bazaar where captains do business. There you'll learn of people at other ports prepared to pay for the odds of a commodity. When you accept the commission from a prospect, it's yours. No other captain will pursue it. It's all fantastically civilized. Their smile is droll. You'll have to source the goods yourself, of course, says the bedeviled didact. Find a port that exports them. The client will want a certain amount. You can supply some or all of it, but if you provide all they need, they may furnish you with an additional reward. So you can accept prospects at the bazaars at major ports, like this one. You can accept up to 4 at once, and you may review and abandon them in the locomotive stream. We'll ask them for a good trading opportunity. They do know. The host at Magdalen's needs an urgent delivery of seeds, paying a pretty penny too. If I were you, I'd get to the bazaar straight away, put my mark against it. Meg grunts. Broker in Port Avon is selling cheap seeds. Chirpy chap, God knows why. His face looks like it's been pushed through a mangle. An opportunity. Port Avon lies to the north of New Winchester, and Magdalen lies to the southeast of New Winchester. So we can go to the bazaar, accept this prospect, and then buy seeds from the bazaar in Port Avon and sell them at Magdalen. So it's essentially a quest, right? So we go to Port Avon, which lies to the north of New Winchester, buy the seeds, sell them at Magdalen, lies to the southeast. North and then southeast. First thing you have to do, though, is go to the bazaar. So we'll do that over here. Seeds for Magdalen's, which we've claimed. We can also do the Admiral's China crockery for Port Avon. Oh, so 2 things for Port Avon's kind of nice. London's erratic admiral is a tactical genius, but perilously fragile. Unless his daily routine adheres to exact specifications, his inspiration abandons him, and the loss of his tea set is a recent engagement. In a recent engagement, has rendered him entirely ineffective. His Batman, currently recuperating at Port Avon, seeks an exact replacement. He will pay 110 for each of up to 5 crates of nostalgic crockery. Port Avon lies to the north of New Winchester. So completing this will aid the stovepipe war effort. And the stovepipes are essentially the establishment, as I recall, right? Yes. Might as well take it. What do we need, though? 5 crates of nostalgic crockery. So we'll keep an eye out for that. A couple other things you can do here, just so you know. You can upgrade your ship. We don't really have the money to upgrade anything. We could add another gun to it. It's not easy to see what the... Okay. Yeah, this is a... Okay, that's sort of a cannonade thing. We can add room for people. There's mining stuff that we can do. There's various additions. We'll come back to that at some point. There is a market that you can buy fuels and supplies from. You can also sell stuff that you have if you have it. We do not have anything at the moment. And an engine yard where you can get new ships. This is a super cool looking train, and I want it very much. Yeah. So I think we'll go back out again, and we will quickly see if we can find... Was our journal? Where are we going first? We're not going to London because that's actually a different sector. Port Prosper lies at southwest, but we wanted to go to Port Avon, right? Purchase 3 sacks of verdant seeds from the bazaar Port Avon, which is to the north. So we will go to the north. All right. And back out into space train we go. So we're going to get a little ways out, and we'll drop a scout. Happen to know that, okay, Victory Hall it mentioned briefly that you can do port reports and turn them in. There are 2 factions. There's Victory Hall, which is the Tactites, I believe, and then there is up here, which is, come on, show me, Company House, and that's more of the establishment stuff. So we found those 2 things. Nope. Alright, not everybody is evil. I believe those are Tackety scouts, yeah. So because we don't have a poor disposition with the Tacketies right now, they're not going to attack. If we made a habit of shooting them a lot, they eventually would. So we're kind of neutral right now. I think we will send out a scout. See what they find. I did not know, I found 2 somethings. I did not know this was dynamically generated. Yeah, I bet that's it. What else did you find? You didn't find 2 things. We just haven't been there yet. Okay, I'm betting that is Port Avon. Exploration is a huge component of this game. There is a slowness to this game as well. Like, it is wanting you to sit back and take your time with the game. It is not, but it's worth it. Like, it when it shows you something new and exciting, and kind of come out of nowhere. This is very bright. We have a new smell behind the coal and the oil, the green and unlikely scent of apples. What is this? This is nursery. Oh yeah, it is. That has earned us experience, where we can eventually level. We can, in fact, level at this point. There we go. Sorry, my phone was doing a thing. So, as you level up, you get these options. They're background stories. Choose a facet of who you were, and it will make you stronger. So we know we start with 19 hearts, 10 veils, 31 iron, and 10 mirrors. That doesn't say like. So we can pick one of these things. Let's double down on the whole iron component, iron and hearts component. And this feels like it's part of our story, right? As a Z captain, a spell in prison. So we will take this. Spell in prison. The judge, stony face, condemned you to New Newgate, the stalactite prison of old London. Its dark was thick as tar, its cells were small as pantries. How did you spend your days there? You either served your time quietly, which will benefit you more in veils than heart, or better the wolf than the lamb, which is veils and... Oh, okay, so you'll get veils plus one of either of these two, right? So probably I should have done scarred, because that would have got me the things I want. I don't mind getting veils. I just want to make sure I get the iron too. Better wolf than the lamb. You ruled your corridor like a robber king. Even the guards knew better than to push you. Punishments were less than you deserved. So that gets added down here. And as you gain levels, you'll gain more of that. So our original Zailor was how we sort of set things, and now we have a few more veils. Nowhere in the place we can dock. Behold, a ruin of giants, gargantuan blocks jigsawed together, furred with moss and whispering with orchards. A bucolic village nestles amongst them. Smoke coils daintily from the chimneys. A leisurely game of cricket unfolds on the village green. Disembark. Okay, so here's another mechanic. Welcome. Port Avon welcomes new visitors, but your novelty will wear off the more time you spend there. When you visit in the future, you may need to bring something to keep them friendly. So people like you at first, but if you can wear out your welcome. An oily-faced, black-haired girl waves your locomotive into position. Welcome to Port Avon, she calls as you disembark. A rich knot of scents greets you, leaves and wood smoke, enriched by an infrequent but pungent intrusion of goat. So this is the port report we were talking about. These are things we can sell to the two factions. The locals are willing to update you on the news. There's not much to share because we don't have a port report, and because we have welcome, we can do this, so we will. Were it not for talk of smugglers and sky beasts, you could easily confuse this place for a village on the world you left behind. It's quite peaceful here, apart from some fuss over a newspaper delivery. The villagers frown and change the subject when you ask about it. We can't do this. And we can't do this. We can't host a tea party. That's tragic. So we can go to the Port Avon dock. Recruit a repentant devil. Let's just take a look. He's looking for passage. He claims to be useful. He doesn't ask where you're headed. Well, his eyes aren't mysterious at all. Offer him a berth. He's repentant. There can be no harm. He will give you a signaler who will increase your iron by 4, your veils by 4, and your affiliation establishment and affiliation academia by 1. I think that's worth it. It costs 100 sovereigns, but I think we will offer him a berth. The repentant devil. He has very little luggage. A single satchel of books and a folded green coat appear to be his only personal effects. His manner is calm, almost pedantic, as he negotiates his duties and his pay. but you have a sense that he urgently wants to be out of Port Avon. So we will add him into our officer as a signaler. Updates our iron and our veils. So we're making some progress there. Port Avon. Can't do anything there. The village green, golden and nebulous, scintillates above Port Avon's apple trees, allotments, eel fishers, and a steepled church. Here you may, if you choose, immerse yourself in the village's quaint rhythms. Actually, what we want to do is go to the Bazaar. Ooh, crate of nostalgic crockery. We can't buy any of that. We can't afford that. That's not good. Was that what we were here for, though? No, we're here for 3 sacks of verdant seeds. I thought. Or are they both here? Maybe they're both here. Oh, this is where we sell them when we find them. This is not the prospect. Okay. Oh, and here are the bargains. Okay, I just need to scroll down. This is the prospect, right? So this is where I will bring the nostalgic crockery when I have it. This is the bargain, and this is what we wanted to buy, the sack of verdant seeds that we will take to Magdalene's. So let's buy 3 of those for 75. Let's buy 2 of those because we don't have money. We could sell a few and have enough money. I'm willing to do that. We'll make that money back at some point. Nope. Sell. Sell 1 fuel, please. And we'll get that last sack, because we're going to make a lot more money off that. I think we'll come back to this. So, well, Tour of Heaven described Port Avon's single public house as a welcome respite justly famed for its authentic old earth cider. The locals can be welcoming for a while. You can recruit crew here. We don't need crew, so I'm going to skip that for now. The Cyclopean Ruins. What place is this? What giant king made his home here? And why did he abandon the vast stores of souls that the locals still quarry from beneath the stones? Perhaps you might risk a furtive excavation of your own. The ruins. Not one of the looming stones is quite square, yet they all slot together immaculately. Actions here will wear out your welcome. We don't have a very good chance of success here. We have a better chance of success here. We could enjoy the picturesque surroundings, how they soar, how tragic, how solemn, like the most rampant visions of Turner. Success will gain us a vision of the heavens. We can do this because all is well, and we have Port Avon welcome. I might come back and do this when I have more. Like I don't. So our profile is here, and you can kind of see. Like we don't really have a good character for this. Our soul is stained and fermented. Classic soul. I think we're going to take this. I think what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can find Magdalene's fairly quickly. And we'll call it there. So where was Magdalene's is southeast of New Winchester. So somewhere down here, hopefully. So every time you dock and undock, an incident, well that didn't take long. Your newly acquired repentant devil is standing most unrepentantly over a body in the hallway. Inspect the deceased. You don't recognize him. You haven't seen this person before. One of your crew, but the deceased is no one you know. A stranger on your locomotive. Peculiar luggage you brought on board, says one of the crew when some others have gathered. Wouldn't have thought it would fit in your little bag. First, clean up. It won't do to leave the body in the hall. Then your repentant devil can explain himself. He's still got the blood on his cuffs. Learning about the repentant devil. He's killed someone on board your locomotive. You need to understand why. He looks younger than most devils, but he is significantly older. His gaze is blank and yellow, a wall of speculation. He grooms his sideburns artfully and knows how to be tactful with less seasoned members of the crew. Ask him about the recently departed. Officers who generate corpses on your locomotive are a liability. He was a stowaway, explains the devil indifferently. He's been stalking me for more than a month. I thought I'd lost him when I came aboard. Then he turned up in my quarters. From the body, he has lifted a clinking bag of souls. Perhaps he was sent to bribe me rather than kill me. He tilts his head to consider the soul collection. Apparently thinks I'm a cheap hire, if so. The devil's gaze reverts to you. I regret to say this is probably not the last time this happens. I may be destined to attract negative attention. I now have 1,000 experience, so that's cool. We will... There's a bunch of other stuff we can do, so I'm tempted to keep him on just because that looks like cool story stuff. Ask him about the state of my soul. He smiles blandly. It is not worth much in its present condition, he says plainly. Too flawed. I could cure you of all that if I had time and if I cared, and if it were not just easy to take away any of a dozen other innocent souls in a better state of repair. If you want it improved, you might, I suppose, try your luck at Carolong. Okay, well, he's a jerk. But he is an interesting jerk. I'm inclined to keep him. I think he's going to warm up to us. Alright, so we are looking for Magdalen Station, I think is what it's called. And that is southeast of Winchester. Were these ruins beautiful ones, or were they always unsettling and eerie? Is this something we could expect at some point when we get a skill for assaying, which I assume is sort of like, I don't know, tomb raiding? Exploration. Oh, I find this really, like, I always get turned around. Hey, we found some random supplies. Lights in the distance. The stoker begins to sing a ballad about the chimneys of New Winchester. So we're almost back to there. Sweet. We got back our fuel. Not grave, oh, there's the thing. New Winchester's down there. So we definitely want to continue in this direction. Southeast of New Winchester. Looking for Magdalens. So we'll get down a bit and then we'll send out a scout. Now, every time you use a scout, it uses up some of your supplies. And like I said, supplies can feel like they're going awfully fast in a very short amount of time. This is just, it's such an evocative game. Like it just, Trapistos hurry. A stopped clock. The fastidious inspector approaches you in the galley. This is the person we took on, the lady we took on who needs to go, I forget where. We'll figure it out later. Captain, good day. I noticed your ship's clock is stopped. Perhaps you'd permit me to repair it. She has a little case of tools and a hopeful expression. Permitted. An opportunity for conversation. She gives you a grateful flicker of a smile and sets to work. Soon she has the back off the clock and has spread tiny cogs across the galley table. Obscure horological tools gleam brassily among them. Everything has a place. I appreciate the opportunity to keep myself busy. Staring too long at the stars is harmful to the temperament. The fastidious inspector has a round face, brown eyes, and short, dark hair. She gives the impression of being perpetually busy. Inquire about her work. She sifts. It is of fundamental importance that the 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in one corner of the Empire occurs at the same time as 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in the opposite corner. How is an empire to function if it can't agree what day it is? Unfortunately, the process is complicated by the fact that time is less reliable than it was. The hours trade is seen to that. As for news of London, seat of the empire lies in far off Albion, where a man-made sun burns in the sky. Another sun blazed there once before her renewed majesty conquered it. London sits in her coat of smog. Courtiers squabble at the foot of the throne of hours, hoping to receive endowments of years. Meanwhile, hard-working civil servants labor to ensure everything runs as it should. Was there a touch of archness there? All is normal. I miss her, though. There is no city like London in all the skies, and Albion is very different from the Reach. Much more civilized. Ask about the Winchester War. There are those who feel that London is a long way away and that they do a better job of governing themselves. The frontier attracts independent spirits. We call them Tacites, for the hobnail boots that are so practical out here. London, unsurprisingly, disagrees. The Windward Company earnestly represents Her Majesty's interests in the region, sometimes very earnestly indeed. The Tacites call London loyalists stovepipes for our hats, I suppose. She avoids looking at you. And you, Captain, where do your sympathies lie? I'm going to stay neutral here. Feel no loyalty to either side. What a remarkable indulgence, she remarks with a raised eyebrow. Okay, well, that's naughty. Discuss the Reach. The wide, wild frontier, a sunless domain, but impossibly verdant, with gargantuan vines, cathedral-sized bronzewood, and livid fungal archipelagos. It has an uncouth splendor, but I miss Albion and the steady light of the clockwork sun. These sunless reaches are so misty and quiet. She pauses. But critical. The territories here are rich with raw hours, and enough vegetation grows on them to feed the whole of London, even if some of it is a dubious shade. Discuss suns. What happened to the Reach's sun? And London has a man-made sun? How did Her Majesty defeat the old one? We warred and won. It was not my area of expertise, I'm afraid. The sun made the law, they say. Now, Her Majesty makes it. As for the Reach's sun, she looks through the window at the lightless, stirring mists. I don't know. Do suns grow old? Do they die of natural causes? I think that would probably be better than the alternative, wouldn't it? Compliment her skills. Her hands are deft and sure. She polishes, she cleans, she reassembles. Thank you, she says, a small embarrassed smile. It's possible the inspector is pleased. It's rather hard to tell. And we will bid her a good evening. Back to work. And to you, Captain. I think I should make a cup of tea. All right, so we found Trapisto's Hurry. I'd like to get past the new Winchester. And we will search from there. Still good, doing good on fuel. Still doing good on supplies. Not worried at all. Don't know what we'll find out here. Hey, we may get blown up. I mean, it has happened to me, for sure. You can find yourself in suddenly faced with more than you wanted to handle. Put it that way. Let's send out a scout. See what the scout finds. The scout has found something. Not low on supplies. Yep, something. Confirmed. Something over there. Looks like there's light. Just swing over and see if it's something that gives us some experience. Gabriel's archive. Doesn't seem like work though. So let's find out what's over here. Uh-oh. That is definitely a bad guy. I'm going to shoot first and ask questions later. Come on, come on. Aha! He's got me with that one. That's a bad shot. All right. The Reach Marauder is defeated. We board it. The crew of the Marauder lie dead in the corridor, killed not by your guns, but knives and small arms fire. The only survivor is the captain, locked in the brig with a bottle of brandy. Chalk eyes stare back from every wall. When he ran out of chalk, he began scraping them with his fingernails. Little remains of them bloodied stumps. Seen this before, Captain, says a crew member, grasping your arm. Sky madness. Magdalens can treat it, if you can be bothered to take the poor sod. Which we will do, because we're heading there. The high wilderness is cruel. This could easily be you one day. So we'll bring the poor fellow aboard. The crew wrap the sky-maddened captain in blankets, then secure them tightly with belts. It takes 4 to transport him safely to your locomotive. He might not be happy restrained, but it should keep him from harm until you can get him to Magdalen's. It lies southeast of Winchester. The captain secured, you have a moment to see whether there's anything of worth on his locomotive before abandoning him. We now have one tale of terror. That is a thing you retain. We will loot the hold, and we find an intriguingly bulging sack. How pleasantly it rattles. 44 sovereigns. Very nice. Alright, so back to trying to find Magdalene. I feel like this might be it over here. Hopefully it is. But it does not seem to be. No, it is. It is a wreck. Kingston's Cape. The detritus of yet another skirmish in the Winchester War. A wreck. The wreck gleams with frost, its windows are dark, its engine silent. Perhaps something of value lies within. We have a 41% chance. I say we go for it. Partial success. I'll take it. You lead the boarding party into the groaning hull. You'll need to be quick. It sounds like it could tear itself apart at any moment. Insulated in your skysuit, lamp held high, you lead them forward. Not munition. We'll take supplies. I think we'll take supplies. Does that seem silly? That doesn't seem very impressive, but we do still want to scout for the Magdalens. We lost a crew, gained 10 terror, so that's over here. Still doing okay. Another crew member lost. You gained 1 supply. Nope, and we made somebody angry. Come on, shoot. Shoot me, you coward. Oh, you got yourself turned around, didn't you, dumb AI? We already did the wreck. We can raid the safe or explore the captain's cabin. Now, this is a place where our iron gives 100% chance of success. The Marauders are rarely democratic. The captain rules by strength and claims the best for their own. Not surprisingly, success. 2 times salon stewed gossip. The cabin door did not survive the onset of your guns, nor did the captain. You have to tread carefully. The carpet will not be saved. Few scorched documents sit on the bronzewood desk. They make for interesting reading. Apparently London had need of a few brave captains willing to bring fire to the Tacites. You would not have expected the signatories of the order. So we have gossip. I do hear fighting in the not too distant. I think I will send another bird. Try this way. Okay, well that could be either direction. Another one. Is that attack? Okay. I don't want to fight again. I really want to not push my luck. Oh, well, this is a dead end. Can we go around maybe? He doesn't seem to be giving pursuit. Come here. Come get me. Come get me. Or turn around like an idiot. I am doing way better at this than I normally do. Strip the engine for materials. Really, we have 29 hull, so I'm not going to do that. Another intriguingly bulging sack. 33 sovereigns. Is there something to be discovered over here? Nope, that's just a watchtower of some kind. This is running long. Not surprised because this game can be kind of slow at times, like I mentioned. It can be a little hard, particularly when you're first exploring, to find where you want to go. As in, around this giant rock. I think that's got to be Magdalene's on the other side. It looks like we're coming around the horn. And hopefully nothing horrifying is on this side. Whatever it is, we seem to be coming up on it. It's getting very blue. Seems good, right? Another wreck, the Ramsgate Robust. We'll try to get another skirmish. 41%. Success. Wow, I really thought I was going to pay for it. This time... Captain's quarters. Captains often keep their most unusual discoveries to themselves, or valuables. There are several kinds of valuables that we want. Our terrors are cranking up a little bit. Crew quarters. 64 sovereigns. Okay. And no enemy this time, which is nice. And we seem to be approaching whatever this question mark is. With any luck, it will be Magdalene's. There's a fight going on somewhere nearby. Yep. Oh, it's just supplies. Now that's not a... They seem to be doing their own thing. Oh, we need them. Another scout. I really like the fighter's work. And what I may do now is we don't... Ah! We almost passed it right up. There's Copes. And here we go. Please don't accidentally shoot me. Notice that the finding the report there. We dock. I think that's where we're going to leave this. Hopefully this at least for been a quick look at giving you an idea of what Sunless Skies is. I'm having a great time with it. It's a very fun game. It's got a great atmosphere to it. If you're a reader, it's all the better. Let me know if you're interested in seeing a little more Sunless Skies. I'm happy to do it. Won't be probably a long-term series, but definitely as long as my voice holds out, it's something I'm happy to do if you're interested in that. So obviously you can leave a comment, leave YouTube indications the way you leave YouTube indications, likes, subscribes, Smash that like button. No, don't. I hate that. Please don't do that. I mean, do it, but don't do it because I said that. Anyway, until next time, my name is Sean Sands. Thank you for joining me. We will see you again real soon.